like a mother who has borne us, held us close in her delight, fed us freely from her body. God has called us into life. Like a father who has taught us, grasped our hand and been our guide, lifted us and healed our sorrows, God has walked with us in life. Though as children we have wandered, placed our trust in power and might, left behind our brothers, sisters, God still calls us into life. When we offer food and comfort, grasp our neighbor's hand in love, tread the path of peace and justice, God still walks with us in life. I look at that song and I see a song about home. Maybe because it talks about mother and father and sister and brother, uh, but also because there's invitation. The end of every verse is, called us into life, walked with us in life, calls us into life, walks with us in life, and I think you could just as easily say home. Calls us to a home with Christ, a home that is not just sort of clean and empty, but filled with God's love and filled with God's Spirit and connected with others who are filled with God's Spirit. And I think as we look at family in Matthew over really three passages that we'll wrestle with in the next few weeks, uh, we'll see that that's really what family is: being connected in the Spirit with God and each other, and that family supersedes any other sort of family. The passage today for Tuesday is Matthew 12:43 43 through 45. When an unclean spirit leaves a person, it wanders through dry places looking for a place to rest, but it doesn't find any. Then it says, "I'll go back to the house I left." When it arrives, it finds the place vacant, cleaned up, and decorated. Then it goes and brings with it 7 other spirits more evil than itself. They go in and make their home there. That person is worse off at the end than at the beginning. This is the way it will also be for this evil generation. Cleaning up our house isn't enough, right? It's not just about getting out the Windex or the Lysol if you can find it, or the Pine Sol or the Mr. Clean or whatever you want to use. That's not what makes us clean. The filling of God's Spirit, the inhabiting of our space by God, is really what makes a home and what keeps us. And this is something that Jesus had been kind of moving toward for a while. We saw it in the middle of chapter 12 as Jesus talked about fruit. We saw it in other places as Jesus sort of redefined what the law was pointing toward. The law was pointing toward mercy and justice and love, not cleaning our windows with rules. And so I was thinking about home as I looked at this passage, and I would invite you today to think about how God fills your home, whether home is inside of you, whether home in the way you're thinking of it, whether home is your physical space, the house you live in, or the apartment, or the place you inhabit, or whether home is with your people, our Orville Mennonite people even. How is God filling that home and pulling us and pulling us together. God's blessings to you on this Tuesday.